Sometimes things don't always go as planned. Equipment failures and weather may cause you to deviate from your original flight plan. Special procedures for these contingencies have been set up for operations in MNPS and RVSM airspace. Procedures for in-flight contingencies differ depending on the airspace. For RVSM airspace in oceanic areas and MNPS airspace, refer to appropriate reference material. Procedures for the loss of radio communication can vary. Lost comm procedures may be different depending on whether you've entered the oceanic airspace and whether you've received an oceanic clearance yet. In general, here are some things to remember. If unable to reach ATC, attempt to contact other aircraft to relay a message. Tune left VHF radio to the air-to-air frequency. Use the emergency frequency 121.5 if necessary. If all communication is lost, set the transponder to 7600. Remember, at least 2 long-range navigation systems are required. However, special routes have been established if failures leave you with only one system operational. If both systems fail, entry to MNPS airspace is not allowed. If total failure occurs while in MNPS airspace, then pilots should use their best judgment. Immediately notify ATC. Keep a vigilant lookout for other aircraft. Resources available to you include radio navigation aids, visual sightings, weather radar ground returns, and other aircraft for useful information. 3 types of contingencies for domestic RVSM airspace are discussed next: equipment failures, weather-induced severe turbulence and/or mountain wave activity, and wake turbulence from other aircraft. Recall that in RVSM airspace, the maximum height difference between at least 2 primary altimeters should not exceed plus or minus 200 feet. If equipment required for RVSM flight fails, follow these initial reactions. Notify ATC and maintain your cleared flight level to the extent possible while evaluating the situation. Watch for conflicting traffic both visually and by reference to TCAS if equipped. Alert nearby aircraft by illuminating exterior lights, commensurate with aircraft limitations. For this situation, cross-check your standby altimeter to see if you can confirm at least one accurately operating primary altimeter. For this example, it appears that the captain's altimeter is the least accurate. Use the first officer's altimeter for aircraft control. Notify ATC that you are operating with a single primary altimeter. Don't forget to change your Mode C reference. ATC will acknowledge your situation. If both primary altimeters fail, notify ATC that you are unable RVSM due equipment. Unless operational situations dictate otherwise, you must vacate RVSM airspace. The controller will provide you with 2,000 feet vertical separation or an appropriate horizontal separation until you are clear of RVSM. Remember, failure of your automatic altitude control system, altitude alerter, or transponder also constitutes an unable RVSM situation. Next, we'll look at contingencies based on weather, such as severe turbulence or mountain wave activity. Mountain wave activity refers to the cascading flow of air formed above and downwind of mountain ranges. The strong vertical component of this moving air can compromise the aircraft's ability to maintain altitude in RVSM airspace. Indications of mountain wave activity include altitude excursions and airspeed fluctuations with or without associated turbulence. Mountain waves can also cause pitch and trim changes to maintain altitude with accompanying airspeed fluctuations. If you encounter small altitude deviations associated with the weather, notify ATC of the location and magnitude and consider a change in your flight level or routing. ATC will advise you of traffic and issue PIREPs to other aircraft. However, if you encounter significant altitude deviations of approximately 200 feet or greater, notify ATC and state that you are unable RVSM due turbulence or due mountain wave as appropriate. The controller will advise you of conflicting traffic and provide vectors to aircraft to avoid merging targets. As before, consider a change in your flight level or a new route to avoid the area of mountain waves or turbulence. Because of the reduced separation, wake turbulence avoidance may be necessary. Wake turbulence can occur in the vicinity of aircraft climbing or descending through your altitude. Be aware that aircraft 1,000 feet above you can produce a trail of wake turbulence from 10 to 30 miles behind it. If you encounter or anticipate wake turbulence in RVSM airspace, you can request a vector, an altitude change, or, if properly equipped, a lateral offset. In domestic U.S. airspace, pilots must request a clearance to fly a lateral offset. Strategic lateral offsets flown in oceanic airspace do not apply. Note that offsets of approximately one wingspan upwind can be sufficient to move the aircraft out of the preceding aircraft's wake turbulence vortex.